Yo, what's up, sports fans? It's Max Ryu, and in response to Mr. Bruce Blitz's Cavaliers video, I'd like to put my 2 cents into it. I'll be taking this matter a little more seriously than my buddy Bruce after he posted that, after he left that kick-ass sarcastic joke at the end of his Cleveland video. You know what I'm talking about, right? Well, I can really understand what Cavs fans are going through after LeBron made his decision, and what a hole of fury and anger he left with those Cavs fans. But let me tell you, by all means and respect, dear Cavs fans, and not to sound too offending, I'm telling you guys the bitter reality now, before and after the decision was made. Well, first of all, let me evaluate again like I evaluated in my last Cleveland video that was 1.5 months ago. I don't see any young high caliber free agent going to Cleveland in future free agency market. Sorry, Cavs fans, but that's the way business is. This is the first bitter reality that I'm going to emphasize on. I've been analyzing this organization around LeBron James for more than 5 and 6 years, and everybody has witnessed it all. This organization has failed to put together a supporting cast consisting of the right people that can support LeBron James in his quest for an NBA championship in Cleveland. And at the same time, they failed to develop enough right people, and wasted some of their talents and brought in washed up dogs who were past their prime times. But their biggest mistake, however, was hiring coach Mike Brown. My buddy Bruce Blitz has been saying it for years, and I can only agree with that and say it again. The Cavs organization should be ashamed to keep a coach like this in place after he was outcoached by Greg Popovich 3 years ago, Doc Rivers 2 years ago, Stan Van Gundy, 2 years ago, and Doc Rivers in last year's playoffs, and all that talent around James got wasted in the playoffs. Mo Williams was not the one to be. He was not the one to be the partner that LeBron really needed, even though it looked like in the regular seasons. I mean, when it really mattered, and that meant come playoff time. Okay, let me tell you, Cavs fans, at this point, you may hate me when I tell you now that LeBron James, despite his decision to turn the back on you, he's still one of my favorite players. Please don't take it personally, but if you do, I won't answer to your flames. Remember that. LeBron is one of my favorite players, but he's not the favorite player of mine in my list. Like my buddy Bruce Blitz, I'm a Bulls fan first. Michael Jordan is my ultimate all-time favorite player, and now Derrick Rose is ranking slightly above LeBron James and Kobe Bryant in my personal favorite player list. I became LeBron James fan for the simple reason that I saw a potential similar to Michael Jordan to build a dynasty in your town, and because I felt that Cleveland deserved it. But things were not going that way because of your messed up management and coaching staff. It is as it is, so get over it, man. And again, don't take it personally. This is my honest opinion as an NBA fan. Okay, referring back to the beginning of what I just said, forget about the idea of landing any big-time free agent here to Cleveland, because your city cannot compete with other cities that have the type of media market and media hype that is so essential to attract those young big-time free agents of today to their town. Well, unless your mayors manage to make this city more attractive and more of a big media market with modern basketball culture, you Cavs fans have got to accept the fact and move on. Well, in my opinion, the best way for Cleveland to make up for the dilemma, your organization should try to solely build in on team spirit first, post LeBron era now. Now the Cavs have a bunch of raw and young talent that have the chance to meld into a cohesive team, and long-term planning will be the key. Forget about the idea of looking for high-caliber free agent, because they're not gonna go anywhere near Cleveland for sure. You gotta develop something like a disciplined half-court team and instill something like a loyalty and love for the city, a retrospective basketball culture like in the past, and most important of all, the pride for the city. Like way back in the middle of the 80s and the middle of the 90s. I mean, with Brad Daugherty, Craig Elo, Larry Nance, Mark Price, and Hot Rod Williams, and later Gerald Wilkins, you had the type of player culture that I just mentioned, and a half-court team with an experienced coach in Lenny Wilkins that was quite competitive in the East during the NBA prime times between the middle of the 80s until late in the 90s, until the first Bulls three-peat era. Well, the only guy who got in your way was Michael Air Jordan. I got you with that one. Michael Jordan was the ultimate Cavs destroyer for a lifetime for your organization. I'm sorry to be mean to you at this point. Well, anyhow, in my opinion, back at these times, this Cleveland team, as much as I hated them as a Chicago Bulls fan, after all those years, when I think back, they got my respect as one of the most disciplined teams in the Eastern Conference, which gave my favorite player, Michael Jordan, quite a challenge. So your team back there made it really hard enough for Michael Jordan to surpass his legendary superiority as the best player of all time, and I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart after all those years. Well, now, back to the future. As I said before, referring back to those glorious NBA prime times, your team of young and raw talent, in my opinion, has a chance to become a playoff team again. If the Cavs management can manage to instill a similar type of basketball culture that was a core back at those glorious days of Mark Price, Brad Daugherty, Larry Nance, Hot Rod Williams, and co., they may give this team a chance. I know it hurts to lose those games with those young raw talents, but you got to give it a lot of time, and I mean really a lot of time. Nothing works from 0 to 100 like a wonder, with a snap of your finger like that. In order for J.J. Hickson, Anderson Varejao, and Ramon Sessions and the other young players of Cleveland to mature, they have to go through trial and error. As simple as that. That's your only chance to make up for the lack of interest of NBA free agents, talents in your own town. Let me tell you again, you have a core of young and raw talent. The management and coaching staff just has to develop it over the years, long term, as I mentioned that before. And when the organization is gonna draft a next prospect in the NBA draft in the future, from day one, these players must be integrated into a team-first approach in order to prevent another 1-on-5 dilemma that was so evident during the LeBron James and Mike Brown era. Maybe you will draft somebody that fits into your organization better than LeBron James did. So stand up straight, Cleveland. In my opinion, you deserve to become a legitimate playoff team again among all those underdog teams. because NBA history has taught me a good lesson, man, and left a flare of personal pride in my heart. And to evaluate on the latest trade, Baron Davis in Cleveland for Mo Williams, in my opinion, a wise choice, because Mo Williams got too retarded anyway. He's the worst. He's the worst defender on your team, and he was the worst defender in last year's playoffs that my buddy Bruce Blitz and I have seen so far. In the long run, he would have just interrupted the team's chemistry anyway, and Ramon Sessions' current run. Baron Davis, in my opinion, is not too much past his prime times yet. You got yourselves a veteran who has been playing quite well in some playoff series, and I remember that spectacular dunk against the Dallas Mavericks when he was still playing for the Golden State Warriors. And he can display his experience if you ever get in the playoffs again in the next 2 or 3 years. And around 2 to 3 years, in my opinion, will still be left in the tank of him. You will have enough NBA draft prospects to draft. So anyway, stand up straight, Cleveland. I think you have a chance to become a playoff team again. I'm Max Ryu, and I'm peace out.